Namaste, Jai Kali, Jai Mahadev, Jai Bharat. I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. Remember, if you're fit and fine, you can take better care of your loved ones. So today I'm going to talk about some of the signs that you might have or you might have experienced in the past that possibly may conclude that you grew up with anxiety. I mean, it was around you. You had anxiety problems since childhood, or rather, you grew up with anxiety. So now, what are those, signs to look out for, or what are those causes or symptoms around? So, point number one is you live in a chaotic environment. So, you need to understand that we need a very peaceful and loving and healthy environment for our physical body to grow and mental body to grow. And if these things are missing, definitely we have our own way of combating the loss. And sometimes these kind of defense mechanism that we build up, that further deteriorates our mental health. So yes, if you live in a chaotic environment, now by chaotic environment I mean to say, being abused by family, or someone is not available emotionally for you, or having a very bad time in the school, or you don't feel like going to school because you don't feel connected, you just feel out of the box, or you just feel as if you don't belong to the school. So yes, these kind of things. And also often children who have toxic parents or toxic family or dysfunctional family or narcissistic family, they generally grow up with anxiety, and the reason is that the entire environment around them, whether it be house or whether it be school, it's not something which is healthy or peaceful or happy. It's quite stressful, and that overall impacts the mental health in the growing phase of a child. So yes, that was point number one. Point number two is worry and negative thoughts have always been the norm. So always being scared, or always being surrounded by negative thoughts, that what if something doesn't happen, or maybe I might fail, or I might not be able to perform well, or I might do something wrong. So these kind of negative thoughts and constantly ruminating the negative thoughts, is one of the signs that you grew up with anxiety. Because see, life is all about positives and negatives and something in between. So you can't just let your mind be filled with negative thoughts. If your mind is filled with negative thoughts, definitely environment could be a factor, or the bodily or chemical changes, or there could be issues with the brain. There could be a lot of reasons, but overall, if you see, like anything negative or depressive, definitely if it stays or if it lingers in the mind, these are the signs of anxiety, and later on might take form of depression. So too much of being worried, or being scared of being punished, and that is the reason you have a deep set worry inside of you. And also there could be various factors and reasons of this constant negative thought inside of you not being up to the mark, or having a lot of self-doubt. So a lot of this insecurity also often leads to a lot of self-doubt, and the self-doubt of course leads to worry, and makes room for all these negative thoughts. So yes, if you grew up with a lot of worry, what would others say, what if I can't do, what if I do it wrong, I can't do this, I won't be able to experience this. So these all are the negative category of thoughts. So if you grew up with this, that means you grew up with anxiety. The third one is you always find it hard to concentrate. So, there is already so much of ruminating things, that is happening. The outside environment, the chaotic environment, too much of negative thoughts as it is in your mind. So, I mean, if your mind is just jumbled and filled with negative thoughts, how the hell on earth would you be able to concentrate on something? You won't. So, that is also one of the signs that you grew up with anxiety. And one really feels one really finds it rather very difficult to concentrate on anything. Now, I don't mean to say that having difficulty in concentration or having lack of concentration could possibly be because of ADHD as well. So all of these are disorders. All of these are issues related to your mind, related to your brain. So it's all in that family of disorders. So anxiety, it's not less than a disorder. Depression is not less than a disorder. ADHD, it's not less than a disorder and disease. So finding it very difficult to concentrate of things, the reason could possibly be anxiety as well. So only when you are very anxious, you are unable to focus and concentrate on things. You're just anxious right there. And yes, you are unable to focus, and then you don't perform well, and then the problem begins. We all have gone through that. So yes, if you did find it very hard to concentrate, could possibly be the signs that you grew up with anxiety. The next one is you have issues of separation. Now let me give you an example. I used to cry before going to school. I had attachment issues. I was scared of separation from my mom. I used to cry 1 hour before going to school. So she used to prepare some good tiffin and give it to me, or she used to, give me some money for the tiffin, and that is how she used to, make me go to the school. But I was like so scared in school. I never used to feel home in school, and it used to be miserable days until and unless there came a time when I got used to it. But this was the easiest incident that I could do. I thought of rather sharing with you also, that you all can also connect. When we go to school, we feel, we cry. So yes, definitely it's an attachment issue. Now, why is the attachment issue happening? The attachment issue is happening because there is not a very peaceful and balanced environment where you grew up. There was quite a lot of abruptness, trauma, chaos. So that is the reason when a child becomes fixated to a parent or to a caregiver, and when they are scared of going away from them, that is the time they begin to cry, they begin to howl, cry, and what all I used to do, I still remember. So this issues with separation happens when you have a very chaotic environment where you are growing up, and then there is only someone who is emotionally available or you are attached to, and that is where this separation thing begins to surface. So yes, that is one of the signs that you grew up with anxiety. The next one is you experience bodily symptoms. Now let me tell you, before going, we all used to have those debate sessions, elocution and all of that, and we all had to go to the podium and speak. So before going there, I used to feel nauseating, I used to feel nausea, I used to feel pain and churn in my stomach, very weird things I used to feel before going in front of so many other students, standing in front of them and then reciting. And I used to get so petrified and I used to get so scared that I often used to forget what I had to recite. I used to forget the entire poem that I used to learn and memorize, and I used to just forget it because I used to be so anxious, so scared, and I didn't feel right. So yes, these are like those bodily symptoms. Like before going to exam, I used to get very nervous. Even if I used to learn and study things and memorize things, but being in examination hall, I used to forget everything. And if I used to meet some stranger or some guest or someone used to come in the family, I used to have the same symptoms as well. I never used to feel right. So the point is, growing up in a chaotic environment, worry and negative thoughts, attachment issue, all of these things, and of course experiencing these bodily symptoms is, one of the signs that we grew up, with anxiety, undiagnosed, unchecked anxiety. So yes, even if now I don't have, but before traveling, I used to go to the bathroom for so many times because I was so scared to travel. So this kind of fear that is set in, being very anxious to face people, and all of these kind of challenges and issues happens if you grew up in anxiety in your childhood. The next one is you're always tired. So I can testify that I used to feel very energetic sometimes, but most of the time I used to feel so tired. Now I'll tell you a little bit of a back history also, because there used to be everyday fight at home. So the environment at home was, as it is, very chaotic. And I don't categorize it as a healthy environment for a child to grow. Seeing up so much of fights, so much of abusive things happening in the house, and as a result of which I was not so energetic, though I used to eat well, but it used to go on here. And somewhere or the other, though I used to eat well, I was healthy, but strangely, I always used to feel tired and exhausted. I used to feel, I was not involved in the fight, but seeing my parents keep fighting, seeing my parents fight, I used to feel as if I have become tired. It was quite stressful for me. So yes, that was also, one of the things that carried on. It carried on for quite long until I helped myself. I chose to stop it and look into it as to why am I feeling constantly tired or not energetic, until I grew up, and then I started reading, and then I started exploring psychology, mental health, and all of these things. Then I realized that constantly feeling tired is also because of anxiety. So these are some of the signs that you grew up with anxiety in the childhood. Now let me repeat before I conclude. Number 1 is you live in a chaotic environment. Number 2 is you worry about every silly things, and there is a lot of negative thoughts in your mind. Number 3 is you always find it hard to concentrate. Number 4 is you have issues of separation. Number 5 is you experience bodily symptoms. Number 6 is you're always tired. So yes, these are the signs that you grew up with anxiety in childhood. And please do talk about it. Don't keep it inside. It's one life. You have to feel good. You have to feel happy. Feeling happy is your birthright. So just feel happy. Talk about things. Create awareness. There is no harm or there is no shame in discussing, how you feel. So please, in case if you had these signs, and if you still have these signs or symptoms, that means there is anxiety and you need to look for help. After looking help, definitely there are these medicines and therapies that can really help you. So look out for help. Don't feel ashamed, don't feel shy. You have to solve your problems in the end. So yes, this was all about some signs that you grew up with anxiety in childhood, or the signs that you have been experiencing and it is still carrying on since childhood because of anxiety. So yes, please do like, share, subscribe this video, and if you have any such signs and symptoms, please do comment below. And yes, please take care of yourself and be happy. Bye.